guys, it's Miss Emmeline. I teach Wondercrafts at Wonderland, and today we're going to do a nature drawing class. I'm going to take you on a little hike. I've got my supplies right here. We're going to talk about what supplies we want to use, how to capture what we see versus what we just want to feel like drawing. Nature does a really good job of helping us with those skills of drawing what we really see. And it's a beautiful day. I happen to be in North Carolina, so the hiking is going to be in the mountains, and you might see some things that are different than what you find in Louisiana. We do have different variety of trees and flowers and grasses and everything. One of the reasons why I love Louisiana so much is because it's different from where I grew up. But since we're doing these videos of lessons online, and since this is where I am right now, I'm going to share with you my home. I grew up on a farm, and at the end of the class, you might be able to see some of our farm animals. All right, come with me. The leaves are just coming on for spring, and we've cleared this trail here. I want to take you for a quick walk. In southern Louisiana, there are a lot of really cool things to see outside. If you have the chance to go outside right now, see what's in your backyard. Sometimes we get too busy and we don't take the time to just kind of hang out. Nature drawing is a way to really appreciate our surroundings. Here's a little stream. Just comes straight out of the land right there, which is pretty cool. So if we walk along this stream, what can you notice? As the seasons change, we have flowers, we have trees, maybe we love birds. Different birds come out. I can hear someone on the trail. These trails connect a couple houses. Nice blue sky today. So let's walk along and see if we can find something that would be really fun to draw. One of the things that I notice at this time of year, oh, look at this huge tree. We could draw that. But one of the things that I notice this time of year is the fern plants. Ferns are those plants that are tall and they have a bunch of leaves coming out from both sides of the stem. One leaf is right across from the other, and they're dark green and they like to live near water. So we find some here. They're not opened yet. That's why springtime in the mountains. That's why I wanted to take you down here. Here's the spring. So it's got a lot of water in this area, and that's where ferns like to live. Let's see if we can find some more. Crossing the little stream trail there. Now this is a trail behind my house, and it goes a long way. This one's not too steep. Someone's coming. Okay, right around here we find what we're looking for. Some ferns that are still coiled up. We call these fiddleheads. How many of you have ever played the fiddle? Let's look. There's a fern unfurling, but if you go to the younger fern, look at that. look how it coils and how furry it is. This is a fern that will one day open up. How cool is that? Let's see if we can find one that's completely open. Here we go. This is what we see most of the year. Green ground coverage. But when it's brand new, it shoots off their curly fiddleheads. Oop, there's one. How cool is that? There's a whole cluster of them. Cool. Okay, so in Wondercrafts at Wonderland Performing Arts, we usually are inside in a classroom, but I wanted to take advantage of kind of how we're staying home these days, and some of us might not have a lot of space, you know? So if we can look up and look out and see what's outside the window, that can give us a lot of ideas for creating art. So here's some more. They like to grow also where there's moss. So there's the moss. And the trail goes down a long way, and some kids are back there on four-wheelers. Isn't that funny? It gets steep if you go farther and turn right, and today I don't want to work that hard because it goes straight up the mountain. But maybe one time I'll take you up there. So let's find a place where we can set up. I brought a canvas bag with my art supplies, and I want to talk to you about what you'll need today, okay? You could do this without a lot of supplies. So here I have my sketchbook once again, and if I turn the page, I've got a nice blank page. I also like to have a sketchbook so that if I make mistakes, I can try again, turning to a fresh page and trying again. I also have a jar with anything I could find in my craft drawer. So sometimes I like to use magic markers, pencils, colored pencils, a regular pen adds different texture. What else do I have in here? There's another marker. And there's some crayons. Green is going to be important for the work today. So hopefully you can use something, this you might use for schoolwork, but you could use it for drawing too. So if you have stuff like this around the house, that would be the first thing. Just gather what you have. It can be anything. This is another one that I really like to use, is a pen that you can get these with different size tips. Some of them have fine tips and some of them don't, but it's really fun to draw with a pen. So we're going to try that today too. All right. The last thing I'm going to use is a ruler. I've got a nice big one. You could just use a little one. That's fine too. Then we want to find our space. So I'm going to set it up and I will get back to you. All right, welcome back. Here I've picked a spot with some ferns that are opening and some that are already opened. And we also have a nice leaf right behind it that kind of looks like the shape of a heart. It's almost like these plants exist in combination with others. We have the lichen on the tree and we have the sunlight shining behind me. It's a great spot to pick to try to do some sketches. Okay, so with your pencil, let's start first by trying to sketch what we see. Okay, we're not going to be judging, we're just here to have fun. I'm sketching this. Please sketch with me. Look at the shape of the curve. Look at whether the leaves have unfurled or not. Even though I'm in the country, you can hear a lot of noises. Earlier you could hear kids on their four-wheelers, which is neighbors. Somebody up the hill is using a saw. You can also hear the birds. There are a lot of birds this time of year. Let's focus on this cluster. There's 3. You want to look at the convergence of lines. Where do the lines touch? Where do they not? Trying not to move our videos so that you can get a really good image to work with. Does the fern dip down before it curls? Does it make a complete spiral where all the leaves are tucked in so there's kind of no ending? The ending of the fern is hidden in the middle of the spiral. How do you make the spiral look like it's going away from you, the point of view of the fern going away? Spiraling still, but going back. If you feel like this is a challenge, try it quickly actually, and then try it again. The best way to learn how to do something is to do it in a series. So we don't want the first one to be our perfect one, really. We don't want to think that that is the best we've got. We could practice again and again and again, and I'm sure we've got a lot more skill in there. If you think you've got those 3 shapes, look behind the ferns. What is the shape that you see behind the fern? Now, some of you that I work with at Wonderland Performing Arts, we've been doing drawing a lot, and this might come easy to you. But if you're just joining us, maybe this is your first drawing class. So I just want to jump in one more time and say, no judgments. This is all about having fun. Now look in front of our subject. If our subject is the 3 fiddlehead ferns, what is in front? How can you draw something to look in front of something else? I'm going to show you what I've been sketching. Here's what I've been working on. Okay? Not perfect, but something is being created, right? We've taken the time to stop and practice a skill. We're drawing. We're slowing down. And especially the way things are right now, it's really good to slow down. So let's take a couple minutes listening to the birds and nature to continue our work. as you're working, I want to share with you some things that my art teachers have told me. One is to try to draw what you see instead of drawing something that you think you see. Or, for instance, with the fiddlehead, talking about this guy, you don't want to just draw a spiral that you might do for a cartoon that's a perfect spiral. You want to draw the spiral of the fern. It might actually be frustrating to you that it's not a perfect spiral. But draw what you see. What shapes do you see? The other thing to think about is the shape around the object. So for instance, here, in between, we've got a shape. We've got this, and it goes up, and it comes back down. This is the shape in between the ferns. If you look at that shape, it'll help you draw the ferns themselves. Pretty cool, huh? How about this shape? Down, up, and around. Drawing that shape, the inner shape, helps us draw the actual fern. Okay? Notice where there are straight lines. Those are also easier things to accomplish than shadows or curly lines. I see a straight line right here. See a straight line right here. Where else do you see one? We see one behind the fern, 2 of them, and then we see straight lines in the fern. Here, 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 and here, if you're choosing to draw this one. Okay? You could even look at those first. You could use your ruler. Let me find my ruler. And you could put them on the page first. So let's see here. There are 2 ferns in the back. And there's my straight line. Also see how the lines converge. This line needs to be on top of that line. Okay? Practice that. How do you make something look in front of something else? If I do it after the fact, I've got my fern here. So I come back and draw that line. But I need the fern to be on top. So you skip the fern, keep going behind it. And I'm choosing with one hand as I sketch this just to do it pretty straight and fast. And then here's the tip because it's a stick. Alright, let's go back to what we see. Is there anything else you want to add? Look at your picture. Is there anything you want to add in your picture? If you need more time to draw, you can hit pause on the video and take as much time as you need. We're here to have fun. I don't want to rush you through it. Compare your picture to nature, okay? Nature is so interesting and complex. I hope you take the time to get outside. Now we've got these ways to film things, and I'm sharing with you what is in my nature. What's in yours? You can share pictures, you share the work that you're making, the art that you're making on the Wonderland Facebook page. I would love to see what you're working on. That being said, let's add some more details. My page is still pretty white and blank. So let's add some details. I notice in this leaf some really cool lines. The veins of the leaf. Let's add the veins of the leaf before we move on. Oop, there's another shape poking out right behind the leaf. Let's work on that shape. All right, look at the texture. Let's draw the texture on the ferns. When they're baby ferns like this, the fiddlehead's just opening up. Look at all of the like fur. It feels furry. Can you draw that? Let's give it a shot. It's not smooth at all. Nature drawing is good just because we get some sunshine, we get some breeze, we get to get out of our houses. But hopefully we're learning some things. Share what you are reacting to. Tell us what you're learning. Did you ever know that ferns look like a fiddlehead when they're little? Did you ever know that they're furry? Of course, in the ecosystem and in nature, it means something. If we wanted to study plants, we could figure out what it means, but for it to have the fur, it's going to provide something for that plant. But we're not nature studies. We're not in a nature studies class. We're in a drawing class. So don't ask why. Just draw what you see. And I'm sure it's going to turn out great. Anything else? Let's work on the background. After we do a little bit more of drawing, we're going to add some color. Don't you worry, I love color. So we've got this big tree. Whoa. How long has it been since you've sat under a tree? And there's the pathway. There it is. So the background of what we're working on is this really cool tree. So I'm going to draw the border of the tree over here. You can tell the light's changing too, the way shadows are happening. And I'm going to draw the tree and some of those leaves shapes. So work on your background. We'll give you a couple minutes to work on your background. Notice how the tree itself has moss on it. Bark. Lichen, moss. These are words that you could do some research with. Or ask an adult, what are those things? We find all these things in nature. Okay, I would like to move on to color, because that is just gonna make it way more fun. All right, bright green. Name some colors that you see. Dark green, brown, gray, black, You know what? We could add a flower in there just to get some purple on the page. Okay, I am going to start with nice yellow green. Look how it's like you can match it. Oop, there's some yellow green. Wow, yellow green. Dark green. Try to find a dark green for that. Darker green. Okay, so where did we see the yellow green? We saw it on the fern to the right. Did you draw that fern? That one right there? Look at that guy. If you didn't, you can add them in now. Curving forward. Curving up and forward. And like I said before, you can stop the video at any time if you need to take more time to work. All the little leaves. I'm holding the video and drawing with one hand, so mine might not be perfect today, but let's see. Here we are. Let's add some green in there. Okay. Nice. Did you do that with me? Where do we see brown? This shape right here, over here, dark brown, light brown. So let's see how my pencil works. Let's do some dark brown. Now you can decide if you like to draw the shapes of the background or the foreground first, actually. Some of you might like to do the background first. Makes the foreground stand out a little bit. I just happened to be holding the brown pencil, so I did the background. We can do some shading to that. Make it light, make it dark. Add some background colors to yours. Okay, while you do that, I'm going to look for another color. Let's see what I've got here. Dark green. I really like to use different art mediums. You'll find pencils, pens, crayons, markers, colored pencils. Because one, as an artist, you get to pick, right? You're independent. You can do whatever you want. But two, every part, or what I mean to say is every supply, comes out different. Some are easier to blend, some are easier to layer, some are more saturated colors, some are darker the way they come out. So, like I said earlier, pick what you like to work with and work with it. If you don't have it, let us know. Maybe we could even get some to you. Okay, so I'm going to put dark green. That fern right there is darker than these, so I'm going to color mine dark green. Keep working on yours. Ferns have leaves that come out directly opposite of the other leaf. They're not staggered. It's a pretty balanced design, the fern. Skinny stem, broadleaf. Now, do some of these leaves have two colors? Instead of just one, like this guy. I see dark green and I see brown. And one cool thing about drawing outside in nature is you can see that the wind is moving, blowing through. Work on the color of that leaf. Get your brown. Okay, here's some more color that I've added. Now we're going to do some things to pull the subject forward and the background backward and actually do a little border around our drawing. But for now, we're still adding some color. So let's get these ferns colored. Green. Work on those 3 ferns. Grab your browns and blacks to work on the background. If you need a stretch break at any time, please stand up, stretch, look around. Can't wait to see what you're working on. I would love for you to share them, share your pictures. You can also just share anything you're working on if you've been doing other things at home. I've got this camera going. Sorry if I'm moving it too much. Let's do a draw. See if I can prop it up here for you. Now I know it's changed composition a little bit, but we're looking at the background. And it's going to be pretty cool that our pictures are going to all look a little different. Even though our subject matter is the same, our composition is going to be different. That'll be really cool to see. How did you choose to draw this? One thing about art is that it does take a long time. So we've got 1 hour today, but I would encourage you to draw this a second time, a third time, a fourth time. I can also take a picture of it and send it as a picture for you to work on. That way you can work on it, get more detail in there, get as much design as you can think. Background, foreground, all of these colors and all these ways that make it come to life. We're using nature as an inspiration rather than a picture, which means it's going to turn out even more unique because you get to choose your own composition. Keeping all of your sketches in one book will really make this time in your life really documented, like a time capsule. One day we'll be able to share what's in our books, and we can say to each other, that was that one afternoon when we did the fiddlehead fern. This was the next day when I didn't have art class, but I just felt like I needed to get something out, and I drew this on my own. It's like a time capsule of our time. So I just did colored pencil, but now I'm going to add some crayon to really give some shadows. I haven't really worked on the background, but I want some shadows behind the ferns. Right now, to me, it looks flat. Okay, so I'm going to use this crayon to try to create some shadow. So let's look at the shadows of real life. Where are those shadows? I see one to the right of the fern. I see one over here. I see some here. Where do you see shadows? Holding your crayon up, you know, okay, that's pretty black. That's pretty black, pretty black. That is gray, so I wouldn't want to color that black. I'd want to choose a lighter color. This is a middle range brown, chestnut brown. A really good way to figure out what color you need to use. All right, let's color in some of those shadows. You've got to really pay attention to where they are. Also provides kind of a landing spot for where the ferns are coming out of the ground. Remember, draw what you see. Try not to draw what you want to draw. We're training our artistic brain. Draw what you see. See if I have a gray for the sticks, but actually right now all I have is pencil, but that's okay. Use what we have, right? Pencil would be good for the shapes of the leaves, the brown dried up leaves. And pencil is good for layering on top. It goes on top of a lot of things like crayon and colored pencils. You can get your graphite pencil to be on top pretty easily. Alright, it's looking a little bit better here. How's it working for you? Got a shadow on it. Now is when you ask yourself, okay, now the ferns sort of are coming out of the ground. How might I want to work on the background? See the tree? I have a tendency to really want to add purples, reds, and blues. This picture of nature doesn't have any of that. But because you are the creator of what you're doing, you can really break all the rules, and just do what you want. Since I love blue so much, I'm gonna just put this as the sky. If it was a tree, close up, but you could see the sky far away. So I'm changing it even though it doesn't actually happen in the real life, but I can't help it. I need some blue sky today. How do you guys feel? Hopefully there's blue skies in Lafayette. Now you don't want it to just look like a cartoony sky, so get your layers of color. Did colored pencil, crayon, another colored pencil. Just makes it pop a little bit. Let's see what you think. Alright, the next thing I really like to do with nature drawing is using a pen. So the pen is going to really bring out the foreground. So I'm going to get the black pen and I'm going to try to use both my hands. Sorry students, I'm going to prop it up one more time so I can use both of my hands. Aha. Now if I could make this balance, we would be doing well. Oh. You guys wishing me luck? Okay, I'm gonna leave it there for now. Grab your pen and see if you can bring the front fern to the foreground. How do you do that? Give that front fern, the big dark green one, give it a lot of detail, okay? Go around each leaf, following down the stem. Notice how the leaves get bigger in size as they come down to the ground. Up towards the sky, the fern leaves are small. Down to the ground, they get bigger. Okay, hopefully you grabbed a pen. We're gonna bring this fern to the foreground. I'm actually getting some raindrops here. Ah, don't rain on me. You'll notice the pen works can cover over the colored pencil pretty easily, but it might not work so well with the crayons. Okay, I'm going to ask you in a second, how did the fern leaf come out with that pen? I'm gonna trace the other leaf in the foreground. Okay, let's show you what I got. See if it made a difference. Alright, see how the fern leaf is now kind of jumping to the front a little bit? Pretty cool, huh? Now, if I kind of critique my own work, I would like the 3 ferns to be sharper somehow. I know I've got a lot of work to do on the background and all the way to the front right, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now. I'm going to work on the 3 fiddlehead ferns and the light green fern real quick. What are you going to work on? Look at your artwork. Look at the real thing. Look at your artwork. Oh, sorry guys. And look at the real thing. Do I have any success in propping this up? Look at the artwork. Look at the real thing. Bear with me. Woo. Nope. Okay, I'm holding it. Let's work on our last finishing touches, and that'll be our art class for today. I'm working on the little ferns. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on it. You keep working on yours. We will check back in real soon.